Shakhriyar Mamedyarov played d4, knight f6 by Giri, knight c3. So he's planning to play the London and use the knight effectively. d5, bishop f4, the London system. e6. And now Shakhriyar decided to go knight b5. If bishop d6, then the knight would exchange itself. So Giri plays knight a6, pawn e3, bishop e7, and h4. So Shakhriyar shows his intentions of the attack. Giri doesn't mind, he just castles. Knight f3, c6, kicking the knight back, queen b6, and here a3, inviting queen b2, but that's just like a beginner blunder if queen takes the pawn. Can you find out the winning move for white? Knight a4, trapping the queen. So the queen cannot really take the pawn. Giri plays c5. Shakhriyar takes on a6, queen takes back, and pawn h5. So Shak is pushing his pawns forward. Pawn h6, stopping the h pawn, and now g4, a pawn sacrifice. Here, Anish decided to take it, even though rook g1 comes, but he decided he can defend with f5. But then Shak goes knight e5, trying to kick this knight with f3, or if allowed, knight takes, knight pawn takes will also come. So takes, and bishop f6. Here comes Shak's first sacrifice. You have to understand, if you play knight takes g4, pawn takes, and then queen takes, black has the winning move e5, which is why Anish played bishop f6, defending g7 from the mate. And now white's going to lose a piece. That is why Shak in this position played the brilliant rook takes g4. He sacrifices an exchange, a rook for a knight, basically. And now the queen jumps into the game. b5. There is a threat of bishop h6, but Anish realizes the importance of developing quickly and also to keep the option of queen b7 after b5. Because if he plays king h8, which is very natural, Shak would just go long castles, and now with b5, just rook g1. Or even knight g6 looks good. Rook g1, let's say bishop b7, then comes bishop h6. And everything comes crashing. If pawn takes back, knight g6. King moves, knight takes. And this is just completely crushing. Queen g8 is good. There is also queen f4. Attacking the bishop, and if king moves, you can go queen c7. The king is not going to survive this. If king f8, then queen h7. If bishop g5, just f4, bishop takes, and just king b1, threatening rook g8 mate. If bishop back, then rook f1 comes, and it's going to be a mate soon. So after queen into g4, Anish just plays b5. And now bishop takes h6, queen b7. That was the idea of playing b7 to defend g7 with the queen. Bishop was already defending it, but there were sacrifices like bishop takes and pawn x6. Now the queen is defending it. Here, Shak just plays long castles. Remember, Shak is down by an exchange right now. Pawn a5. This was a blunder because it allowed Shakhriyar to play knight takes b5, a knight sacrifice. Queen takes knight was played, and now bishop g7. Everything comes crashing down on the g7 square. Bishop takes, pawn h6. Rook a7 defending it, but rook h1. If you play rook g1, then it's not enough. Rook takes f2 can be played, and if you take, it does not lead anywhere. And if you take with the queen, you would just lose the queen. So that is why it was important for Shak to play rook h1, which he did. Rook h1. Now rook into f2 was played, and h7. King h8 would lead to mate. It's a one move mate. Knight g6 is mate. So king f8, and now queen takes g7, a queen sacrifice. Rook takes and promotes. Rook g8, knight g6 check. King moves, queen takes. So all the pieces that Shak gave away, he's getting it back. Now material is completely equal, and the black king is still running. King d7. Can you find the finish? Knight check, king moves, knight d3. And this is where Anish Giri resigned, because he's going to get a bishop, this Shak. The rook is attacked. There is no threats on the king, on the white king. And when the rook moves, you would just take the bishop, and the king would not survive this as well. So Anish decided he had had enough, and he resigned. So this was a game where Shak just sacrificed everything. First an exchange, then a knight, then a bishop, and then a queen, and then won the game. by getting everything back and more, actually. So this was the game of the tournament so far, the game of the whole Champions Chess Tour.